Royal Ones, this is Miss Gigi. I'm coming back at you again with another juicy episode. Let's get straight into it. Let's talk about the Affirmative Action Program. These programs were designed to protect and aid the civil liberties of minorities, women, and Native Americans. This program grants special consideration in regards to employment, education, and government contracts, which prohibits discrimination. Of the people who currently suffer or historically have suffered from discrimination within the cultural groups that have been excluded. This is the term, the qualifications of the Affirmative Action Program. The Affirmative Action Program was signed into law by Mr. Lyndon B. Johnson, and it was meant to break down barriers, both visibly and invisibly, and to make sure that, everyone is given an equal break. African Americans, women, people with disabilities, and other groups facing discrimination would be fairly represented in the nation's workforce and educational institutions. The continuing need for affirmative action is demonstrated by this data. The National Asian and Pacific American Legal Consortium reports that white men make up 48% of college-educated workforce. They hold over 90% of top jobs in the news media and 96% of them of CEO positions, 86% of law firm partnerships, and 85% of tenured college faculty positions. So, that's still a lot that needs to be done because there's still, I thank God that Barack Obama got in as president, though. That was different in regards to African Americans. He was a U.S. senator, and only 20 members of the House were black between 1870 and 1900s. The doctrine of Plessy versus Ferguson of 1896 stated that separate but equal was upheld. And this doctrine prohibited the separation of races in schools, public transportations, and, characterized them as all equal. The concept of affirmative action was reborn on June 25th, 1941. With President Franklin Roosevelt, he signed an Executive Order 8802, which required non-discrimination in employment, government-funded projects. This order was extended to all federal contractors and subcontractors. President Kennedy issued Executive Order 10925, which requiring federal contractors pledge non-discrimination but take affirmative action to ensure equal opportunity, and order including penalties, including suspension of a contract for non-compliance. In 1965, President Lyndon B. Johnson also issued another Executive Order 11246, along with the creation of the Office of Federal Contract Compliance and the Department of Labor to enforce its non-discrimination and affirmative action requirements. The Executive Order was amended in 1967 to include provisions on sex discrimination by federal contractors, along with a requirement that they engage in good faith efforts to expand job opportunities for women. These series of affirmative action programs was designed to boost the minority employment and by emphasizing hiring as a result in federally funded construction jobs. Now, see, the fact that this had to be spelled out this way is why I support the Great Resignation for Black men and women to leave the workforce, these white-collar jobs, and this corporate America, and work for ourselves. That y'all got, a lot of y'all got started way too late. I got started back in 2010. I've been experienced that, but y'all really just had enough. And then also the pandemic, when they shut down the economy, that really showed a lot of us that, okay, we need to really, do the same for ourselves, because that was close. And that was a lot that they had control over. And so they control all the resources, and they shut down the resources at will. So therefore, we shouldn't be dependent on the government for our survival. We should just, create our own businesses and you know, and praying, trusting the Lord more. That's what's going on. We praying and trusting the Lord more, and we, you know, following our dreams, stepping out on faith. You know, it's something we shouldn't have done in the first place. But this pandemic has taught a lot of people, when they shut down the economy, they taught a lot of us in the African American community, hey, you know what, this is our time. And since they want to sit there and hog on the jobs, now you see what happened. They're sitting there, they're asking for, oh, where the black women at? Where the black men at? They leaving corporate America. Their businesses are shutting down. There's a lot of it, you see. Look, their businesses are closing down. A lot of them are going foreclosure and bankruptcy. Why? Because the workforce was so heavily dominated on blacks working that they actually forgot how useful our people are when we are skilled laborers and we have a skill and talents that we, you know, and you making and treating us like we ain't worthy, or like we're lazy, or like we have the problem. But when we up and leave your institution, we up and leave your place of business, you stop making money that way. You stop making as much money. So they're very, very ungrateful. A lot of these races, they get their money and their money go to their head, but they forgot how they got there. And instead of making a boss man rich, we make ourselves rich by owning our own businesses and standing up and saying, hey, you know what, I'm not gonna let you treat me like that. And then they all get angry, and it look like they all got angry and start killing our black men and start attacking us. The police officer, police brutality, they all got angry because we don't want to do their work. So, and if you kill us all, then you definitely going to be the only ones working, and it's going to be a sloppy job. I know there's a lot of food poisoning going on in these restaurants because they can't really cook all that good like they think. So it's just a lot of contribution to society that we bring, and then now they're starting to figure it out, and then they're like thinking about it. Like, you know what, we shouldn't have did that like that. And all we want to do is get along. So there are, so the affirmative action was really meant to level the playing field, but a lot of races, they really don't want that. So they still, you know, try to withhold resources, but that's not what's going on. You know, a lot of them are overlooking the affirmative action programs, and they're actually, you know, they're disgruntled about treating us how we're supposed to be treated. And the ones that are working, they, you know, they're just pretty much biting their tongue, and a lot of them are walking off the job, quitting. And so I really think that for the ones that don't have any skill set to open their own businesses, and the only thing you know how to do is work in a managerial or supervisory position because you don't have the skills and talents to operate the day-to-day basis of a business, just stay in prayer. But that was the whole intent for the affirmative action program. Just stay in prayer and know that the Lord hears and sees you. I know that it never meant to be this way, but it is. It turned out that way because of jealousy and racism. And it was meant to give a break, but it wasn't. And a lot of people are still pushing against it. All right, so tell me what you know about the affirmative action program, and do you even remember the affirmative action program? I mean, I'm old school with this information, but tell me what you think. Let's have this conversation. Meet me in the comment section. Thank you so much for listening to this message. Don't forget to comment, share, like, and subscribe. Love, hugs, and kisses. Bye.